Hey, so quite a chunk to look at today. It's about 3 weeks worth, and there's some I've got a whole series as well. One that I thought I wouldn't get, but I thought it's all out now, so I'll get it. But you know what that is near the end. So we'll look at first of all my image purchases, which is this pile here. So starting off, we've got the Six Fingers #5 by Dan Watters, Sumit Kumar on artwork, Lou Ridge on colours, Aditya Bidikar on amazing lettering, and Tom Muller is the designer, so he does the whole design of the comic. It's nice that they give the graphic designer a bit of a tip of the hat as well. So the customary nice art by Sumit Kumar. Really good writing again by Dan Watters. By the way, Dan Watters is coming on Nightwing, so really excited about that. But yeah, it's a satisfying conclusion to the both of the series. As you know, there was um, the One Hand as well, which was by Ramvi. That was they said it went parallel to each other. That focused on the detective. This one focused on the serial killer, and obviously with the One Hand, it showed that not everything wasn't as it seemed, and there was a reason why this was set in the future. And this basically just fills in the gaps, the whole of the gaps, and it's a very satisfying conclusion. Really enjoy both series. I think I will read them again. Um, so there's not the month wait for each episode. Just see if it get a refreshment of the flow and the flavour of it. But yeah, very satisfying. High quality art, high quality storyline. One of the best miniseries, along with the One Hand of the past year, and I would give this 9 out of 10. So excellent, really good. If you've not got it, I do recommend you get them in the comic book form. That's the One Hand and Six Fingers, and then this comic just continues to blow me away. Wonderful double-sided cover. So this is Feral #5 by Tony Fleeks, and artwork by Trish Forstner, who does the cats, does the animals, and Tony Rodriguez does everything else, the backgrounds and the humans. So as I mentioned last time, this is like a zombie horror film but done featuring cats. So if you imagine it's like Plague Dogs spliced with Dawn of the Dead. That's how the only way I could describe it. And to say it's just about animals, you get so invested in the characters, like you did with Watership Down, or again, as I mentioned, Plague Dogs, or even Stray Dogs, to tie into one of Turner Fleet's series. You forget they're animals, and you just fall for the personalities, and a lot happens in this episode, in this issue. And the artwork, as you can tell by the cover, is just some of the nicest artwork in a comic. It's so hard to draw animals, to give animals emotions, to make you not just looking for oh what a cute animal, but to make you think that they've got each animal's got a different personality, and the artwork is just breathtaking. But it's not just the artwork. It feels like this comic's been building up to this issue. A lot happens in this issue. I don't want to give spoilers. I want you to buy this comic. If you're not buying this comic, animals and school animals. It's not that kind of vibe. Yeah, things happen to animals, but it's animals doing it to animals. So the way I look at it, it's like a David Attenborough film, where you see animals attacking other animals. It's the circle of life. With this one, it's these infected animals attacking other animals, and a lot happens. Not all the cast end up as they were from the previous issue, and I thought, my God, that's a big jump on quite a lot of the characters from one issue, and we're only on issue 5. Brilliant. I have no idea where this comic's going to go, and I'm all invested for it. It's one of my top reads of 2024. When I do my year end, this is definitely going to be in the top 5 easily. Yeah, 9 out of 10, maybe 9.5 out of 10. Buy this comic if you're not picking it up. You won't regret it. And another comic that's just blowing everything else out of the water, Gromit. This is #3 of 7. So it's set in the mid 80s, and I think it's San Francisco. Oh, where is it now? Is it California? It's somewhere in America anyway. But yeah, so it follows these two guys and their other mates who I've not seen before. Basically, just being young teenagers in America in the mid 80s, where surfing culture's all the rage, punk's all the rage. And they just do what teenagers do, chase after girls. And they're horrible. The lads are horrible. Like, basically, they get stoned, and there's the three, is it the three Rondas or whatever they're called? The three Jans, who they all idolise. They're like the dream girls because they're really cool, really sexy looking, and they skate as well. So they all think they're in with a chance. And they've basically eaten a load of hash, a load of marijuana, and they've been eating, sort of had the munchies, and they're eating all these all this junk food. So they've got food all over the face, high as a kite, and they see the Jans, and they just go over to the Jans. I mean, would you want to kiss that face? And it's just, so he stinks of marijuana because he put it in his food, and he stinks of this nacho cheese as well. The artwork is just superb. What I love about this as well, it's got the bright, vivid colours of the 80s. This is what I remember about going to like arcades and all that in the 80s. This type of colouring, it's just pitch perfect. The dialogue is great. There's no violence, there's no guns, there's no plot twist, there's no science fiction, no horror, no superheroes. It's just teenagers in America in the early 80s just do what teenagers do. And I love it. Again, 9 out of 10. Image are knocking it out of the water again this month. One where there's been a dip in quality is the final issue of Creature from Black Lagoon Lives. Great cover. By dip in quality, I don't know what's happened to the art. It feels very rushed. I'm sure the other issues were inked more. This feels like it's come straight from the pencils. And some pages are really nice, and other pages are really basic, like this one. It just feels like there's not been the same amount of attention to detail what's been placed on the previous issues. So I don't know, it seems to be a bit more minimal in the detailing. Some of the pages are great. I mean, that's a wonderful final page. So as I mentioned last time, this story is basically, it's like a split story. One group of people are looking for the creature from the Black Lagoon, and this woman is looking for the serial killer who's escaped into the Amazon. I think this is the Amazon. But he's done something to himself. He's modified himself, bit of body mod. So he's turning into the creature as well. And so basically both plot threads come to a head in very different ways. Each protagonist, one hunting the serial killer, has a different outcome to the one hunting the creature from the Black Lagoon. I won't tell you what happens to either one. And yeah, it wraps up nicely. Again, it's a twin writers, Dan Watters and Moran V, because they do write a lot together, and it works well. The story's great. The story's a fun romp, but the art is not as good as the previous 3 issues. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 8 out of 5. The series as a whole, 8.5 out of 10 for the whole series. But I do recommend it. If you've not got a comic, wait for the book and buy it. One that is there's never a dip in quality, and it's Rook Exodus. This is number 4. Even if the story is crap, I'd be tempted to buy this just for the art. It's one of the most beautiful looking comics on the market. Wonderful cardstock cover, $3.99, 22-24 story pages. Artwork, absolutely gorgeous. No different. It's the same artist, Jason Farbach, on each issue. Same writer, Jeff Johns. Same colorist, same lettering. And it's wonderful. Ghost Machine are really one of the best imprints that have come along in a long, long time. I think it's going to take a break after the 6th issue, and then so they're going to skip a month, and then they'll start with number 7. So do it. Have a gap if it means the same creative team stays on it. From the cover to the interior, just wonderful. Great action science fiction story. It gives me that same kind of buzz I used to get from reading First comics back in the 80s. But it's just great, and as we've mentioned before, it's about this planet where all of Earth's like moved to this other planet, or a lot of them have, and they're given these avatar helmets where they take control of different animals. So Rook takes control of the crows, she takes control of snakes, he takes control of bears, etc. Basically, one guy is trying to get all the avatars for himself, and he's basically trying to bump off everybody else. And this finishes on a really good cliffhanger. Something happens to the main character, to Rook. You don't expect it to happen to the main character, and it's just great. I can't wait for next issue. 9 out of 10. A near perfect comic. Another one which is a fun read is Redcoats, another double page front cover. Front and back, really nice cover. Artwork by Brian Hitch and Andrew Curry on inks is superb. This is the most light of the Ghost Machine comics, but it's a fun read. It reminds me of it's got a bit like the humour of Jack Sparrow mixed with the TV series Sleepy Hollow, if you remember that. And yeah, it's just a good period sci-fi fantasy adventure. Reminds me a bit of like Tim. I used to like Tim Powers, where he did like these alternate time travel stories. It's kind of like this. This guy's basically most immortal, and he's now in the late 1800s, where I think he was around from the 1700s onwards, and so it comes to a head. There's this secret society, basically like Freemasons slash the KKK, and it reveals who their main leader is. And again, it's somebody who's very famous in history, and it's a great reveal. Good fun comic, 8 out of 10. Like I said, it's not the strongest, but the artwork's gorgeous. But it's a fun, light read, and I am not dropping that one. I've dropped quite a few comics recently, so to make way for a lot of the new comics coming out in October, I've cut a few out, so I've stopped at last. Yay! Batman by Chip Zdarsky. I'm stopping Batman and Robin. I'm just going to get Detective for my main Bat title. And with Superman, I'm stopping Action Comics and just getting Superman. So I've just got to, budget-wise, because there's so much stuff coming out, and there's stuff that's come out recently what I've been guessing. I want to have more of a mix. I don't just want to have it superhero heavy. I want more genres, because otherwise I get fatigued and I start slagging stuff off, and I don't want that. I want to stay positive in my love for comics. So this is Superman number 16, Joshua Williamson. Jamal Campbell back in the artwork. The artwork, being Jamal, is absolutely gorgeous. This is an Absolute Power tie-in. I'm loving Absolute Power. It's a crossover, but it's not invasive, because the storylines have been building up to this for quite a while now, so it just feels very organic. Zatanna's in this one, so Superman's still without his powers, so he's got this suit on that just helps him heal, but he's still Superman. Even if he's not got his powers, his personality is so strong that he makes other people want to be better. For example, Mercy, who works for him, she's become this really good character. She's just been so inspired by Superman that she's trying to be a reflection of him. So it's continuing the storyline of Absolute Power, where basically all the superheroes have had the power strips and they're being hunted by Waller and her Trinity of Evil. So it's the Amazo robots. What the hell is he called now? The robotic Batman. I can't remember what he's called now because I can't stand the character. And somebody else anyway. But yeah, so what I like as well in this, there's a great scene in here with Tornado as well. I love Red Tornado. I want Red Tornado to come back in a bigger way. There's a great comedy scene there. The dialogue is just great. But I love Joshua Williamson's writing of Lex Luthor. Sorry. Can't find him now. So Lex Luthor's still got amnesia after having his brain siphoned by Brainiac in the crossover. So there's the after effects of that, and he's a wanted man as well. It's just fantastic. This is how superhero comics should be. This is pure superheroes. It's hopeful, full of joy, full of dynamism, full of great dialogue, good story beats, gorgeous artwork, 9 out of 10. And talking of great superhero comics, Detective Comics issue 1087. Wonderful cover. So we're nearing the end of Ram V's run on Detective, and as I mentioned in a video, Tom Taylor's coming on with, I've forgotten who the artist is now, it's the Justice Society artist who's coming on. So the whole huge storyline, what Ram V's been working on for years, is now coming to a conclusion in a very fun, very dynamic way. I love how he handles the whole Batman family. It doesn't feel forced. And what I love as well, there's a great backup strip by Dan Watters and Francesco Francavilla, focusing on Nightwing and Azrael, who's got his old Batman costume on. It's laugh out loud fun. It's just a really fun dynamic. I'd love a miniseries of just Azrael and Nightwing together, written by Dan Watters, where it'd be like this oddball couple kind of comedy comic. It'd be wonderful. It just made me it threw me actually, because it was just pure comedy, the backup strip, and I'm all for it. It was refreshing to see. And another comic that's just good superheroes, Green Arrow number 14. So Ollie, as we found out, is now working for Waller. Obviously there's got to be more to it than that. The artwork in this is really good. It's not normal loss, I don't think. Let's have a look. It's Amansi Nahupan and the irregular artist Sean Izaki. So don't know how much they're doing what, but it's nice, clean, smooth superhero comics. So again, continuing on the Absolute Power storyline. So we've now got the Arrow Cave. So Ollie's been building this in secret. Where this is where the rest of the Arrow family is, and Batman's told the Arrow family, stay on the island because we might need you if it all goes critical. And of course, Roy Harper, being Roy Harper, says, fuck that. And he gets his band of merry arrows to basically take the fight to Waller. Yeah, it's good. 8 out of 10. Another comic, DC and Image, fantastic companies at the moment. Another comic that blew me away, wasn't expecting much from it. Dark Knights of Steel, All Winter. I love the artwork. This black and white with grey wash artwork is just wonderful. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. So it's set in, I think, Viking times. So it focuses on Deathstroke, who's like this mercenary working for whichever government wants it to use him. And I love how some of this big use of colour on the final page is that Arthur Curry. We'll find out next issue. It's great. It's written by Jay Kristoff, who's a novelist. He's an Australian novelist. He does quite a lot of fantasy / horror fantasy. And it's good, surprisingly good. Good dialogue, great artwork, great expansion of the Dark Knights of Steel universe. And Tom Taylor does a really nice backup with artwork by Ricardo Federici, who did a lot of the Action comics when Philip Kennedy Johnson was on it. Really nice, focusing on the Kents. A lot of political intrigue going on there. 9 out of 10. Another solid DC comic. And another solid DC comic is Hellblazer Dead in America. This cover is wonderful. I'm surprised they were able to get away with that. We've got lines of coke here. We've got used condoms. We've got John Constantine's naked backside with a guy's hand resting on it. John Constantine completely out of it, completely wasted. Kudos to DC for making sure this got passed. Maybe it's the colouring, so it wasn't that clear initially, but when you study it, you're like, oh my god, okay. So, this kind of like does a leap from the last issue. And it focuses on John Constantine with this person who was on the bus last time. It's kind of like become like a dream creature. And he's trying to get the sand of time again, sand of dreams again. And it's basically it plays on John Constantine's pansexuality, but it also plays on who's the biggest bastard out of the two of them. And we find out who is, because obviously it's got to be John. And it just tells us this character's backstory as well. It's a fascinating read. It's dense. It's a science period comic, so it's not going to be a quick read. The artwork, by Aaron Campbell is amazing. This guy is freaky as shit. Yeah, it's every time this comic comes out, it's always up there, one of the top comics. It's great. It's basically a road movie in comic format, with dashings of Lynchian horror. Yeah, 9 out of 10. Great. I hope it's been extended to 11 issues, but I hope after that they bring another series of John Constantine out because it's just so good. And one of the best reads of a long, long time is Satana Bring Down the House by Mariko Tamaki and Javier Rodriguez. Wonderful cover. Now it's $5.99, but you get 32 pages, no ads at all, cardstock covers, beautiful, beautiful artwork. So I don't mind paying that because there's no page wasted. Very, very high quality. The artwork by Javier Rodriguez is wonderful. Mariko Tamaki is basically shoving two fingers up at all the people who were saying she was woke and a rubbish writer because of the Starfire comic, what she did, graphic novel a while ago. Fuck them. She's a good writer. She showed the shops on Detective and she's really coming around in this. And it's a really fun take on Satana. It delves into origin. It's kind of rewriting it a bit, but who cares? It's doing it in a fun, interesting way. It reveals that Zatara, her dad, wasn't such a nice guy. And things happen what kind of go, oh, okay, let's put that in a different direction. And Satana doesn't like using magic. She calls it tricks. And there's a reason why she doesn't like using magic, because it gets out of control. And she meets this society of magicians who are telling her that she needs to basically grow up and start using the magic to fight these demons that are encompassing the world. And it finishes on the final page where this mysterious person appears, who we'll find out next time. And I love this. 9 out of 10. Again, it's 2 issues in so far, so do hunt them down, you won't be disappointed. And another one that I took a risk on, and I'm pleased I did. It's by Gerard Way, Sean Simon writing it, and artwork by 2000 AD Mainstay, an all-round brilliant artist, did Invisibles, The Filth, and other stuff for Grant Morrison and DC. And that's Chris Weston. This is Paranoid Gardens. The way I describe Gerard Way, he's like the cosmic psychic love child of Grant Morrison. He's the closest anybody else got to Grant Morrison's surreal, almost like William Burroughs kind of writing. It's completely batshit crazy. It's set in a retirement home where it's not just humans, there's superheroes, there's aliens, there's demons, everybody's in there. And it's focused on this girl who's got no memory of who she was before she started working there, everybody loves her, she's wonderful. And this superhero comes in, he's basically burning out of place because he can't control his heat vision anymore. They get that sorted out, but there's weird things going on in the walls and everywhere, literally in the walls. And the artwork by Chris Weston is wonderful. I would get it out of the bag, but I don't want to because it's a cut-out cover, so I don't want to rip it. It's just beautiful, really high-quality comic. $4.99, but it's worth it. It really is worth it. And I couldn't say more than that because it's out there. I mean, it's Gerard Way. Like I said, he's very surreal, but it's engaging, so engaging. The dialogue's fast and punchy. The artwork is just beautiful. It's the most detailed artwork in a comic. Chris Weston's one of my favourite artists going. Yeah, 9 out of 10. Highly recommend it. And another one I highly recommend, never a dip in quality. Dougie Braithwaite's on the artwork this time. Jim Sub's doing it, writing as normal. Nice damp Panosian cover. This is Conan, number 13. I adore the colouring in this issue. I like how it rotates between Dougie Braithwaite and I've forgotten who the other artist is. Is it Delator or whatever it's called? But anyway, you know who I mean, the other regular artist. I like it rotates between each of them, and he plays to the strength of each artist. This one is just so good. It's a flashback to Conan when he was a young boy, and it's basically just a survival tale. But this mysterious girl appears at the end of it. Red hair. Is it Red Sonja? We don't know. But this comic, It's never drops a beat. It just goes from strength to strength. Yeah, I've always been a Conan fan, but never to this degree. This is a perfect Conan comic. It's the closest they've ever got to the essence of Conan from the books in a comic form, and it's just near done perfect. 9 out of 10. Buy the trades if you're not getting the comic. And another comic that blew me away. I'm a big fan of the comic in the 80s, but it kind of drops off in the late 80s, early 90s, and that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I thought, number one, new jumping on point. Jason Aaron writing, he's normally a solid writer, and this issue is illustrated by Joel Jones. And pardon me. It's just beautiful. I mean, that action sequence. It's Jason Aaron doing what Jason Aaron does good, which is action. It brings a good gritty flavour to the Turtles. It's focusing on each one individually. So, I don't want to say too much. You need to read it. I really highly recommend you read it. It's well worth your time. The artwork is beautiful. The story is beautiful, perfect. It's gone back to the old Mirage days of Turtles. It's got that same grittiness. I love that cover what I chose as well. Yeah, 9 out of 10. I'm carrying on with that. And another comic I love. This has been a fantastic haul. I'm really pleased. There's just one dip later on, you find out which. And this is the resurrected EC from Oni Comics. So EC Comics, Epitaphs from the Abyss. Wonderful cover by Lee Bermejo there. So cardstock cover, 40 story pages, $4.99. So we've got the Gravedigger, which they always have. They always have like an iconic character who introduces the stories. So we got stories by Jay Holtham, art by Jorge Fornes. That's Killer Spec. And then we've got Sinister by Chris Condon, who's one of my all-time favourite writers at the moment. Peter Krause on artwork. Stephanie Phillips does Family Values, which was quite a brutal story. Gorgeous artwork by Phil Hester. And Brian Azzarello with art by Vlad Legostev. So the first story, Killer Spec, is a fun, short, sharp, brutal story. It does what it intends to, what it sets out to do, keeps you engaged. But Senator by Chris Condon, I absolutely adore. This is just really, really good. It felt more like a Twilight Zone kind of story actually than a EC story, but I really enjoyed it. It had a good payoff at the end. And one that really impressed me was Family Values by Stephanie Phillips and Phil Hester. Again, had a very tight plot, very mean and lean, good twist at the end. And I'm so happy because I'm from England, I'm from the UK, and we were raised on things like 2000 AD, Action Comics, Deadline, things like that. So we're used to anthology comics, and I'm so pleased that America's gone bringing some anthology comics back. And then there's the last story is by Brian Azzarello, and for me this is the weakest story, which I was surprised by. Normally he's one of my favourite writers, but it didn't do much for me, that one. But 3 out of 4 ain't bad, and even still, even the Azzarello one's good. So I'd give this 8.5 out of 10, and I highly recommend you pick this up. It's now been extended from a mini to a maxi, so it's now 12 issues. And then another anthology, kind of like the spiritual cousin to it, Hello Darkness from Boom Studios. There's people like Garth Ennis, Becca Clune and James Tanyan IV, Werther Deladeiro and people and so on, Steve Orlando, etc. Got the same kind of feel as the EC one, but very floppy. Paper quality is nowhere near as good. Colouring's not as good, and the art just isn't as good. The stories just aren't as good. I don't like how they've put Something Is Killing Children in, because I think they've done that for a cash grab, because there's going to be people who just buy it just to get some more Something Is Killing Children in their collection. And to be honest, it's 6 pages of nothing. 5 pages of nothing. It's not even build up, it's just preamble. The Steve Erlander one is very good. About a guy who has a hand grafted onto him, and what he drastic measures he takes with that. The strongest story is The War Part 1 by Garth Ennis and Becca Clunan artwork. Very talky, a lot of head. Nothing happens in this issue apart from the final page, but it makes me want to come back try it again. This comic again. The first story is good, which is by Jude Ellison Style and Letizia Candanici. The one by Dave Cook and David Cousin, Staying Lane, was shit, absolutely shit. And there's a few other bits and bobs in here, but it just doesn't have the whole quality of the EC one. So I give this a 7 out of 10, but I will come back for it. And one comic I got today, because I've not been able to find it until now, because it sold out bloody quick when it first came out. So I got all 3 issues of the new Dick Tracy comic. And it's not the most dynamic cover, but for some reason this cover's just got my attention. This is what made me want to buy the series. I love that cover. I just love the whole pulp feel of it. So this is a wonderful reinvention of Dick Tracy. It's written by Alex Segura and Michael Murchie. Artist is Geraldo Borges, who's got a very Sean Martinborough kind of feel to it, to his art style. I love how they do Dick Tracy in this. He's got his radio watch, which is great. He's got his Mac and his hat, bright in yellow. All the villains are in. What I like about this, it's bloody brutal. It's basically Dick Tracy via Goodfellas. Is the only way, not Goodfellas, the Untouchables. It's the only way I could describe it. And he's the only character who's got as good a cast of villains as Batman. But not all of them survive these issues. I'm like, oh my god, what are they going to do when they kill all the people, all his rogues gallery? But I love it from the whole packaging. It's just a great comic. If you've been sitting on the fence with this, if you can find it, do give it a go. I would give this a 9 out of 10. I'm invested in this comic. I've stopped a few comics to make room for this. And one comic I thought I'd try just to see, and that's X-Force. And the reason I gave it a try is because the writer, Jeffrey Fawn, is the writer, and he did a really good run on Green Lantern. And he's made me enjoy X-Force. The artwork's okay. It's by... Marvel just don't have names. I've never seen this guy before. Marcus Toe. He's okay. He does the job. Marvel is just so beige at the moment. But there's a comic where the artwork is superb, which I will come to in a second. So X-Force is the team led by Forge. And on the team is Forge, Sage, Tank, Captain Britain, Ascani, which is Rachel Summers, and guest starring Deadpool, because obviously it even mentioned here he's got a film coming out. I'm Deadpooled out. I'm not the biggest Deadpool fan, so that pulled me out a bit. But I liked how they made use of him. Basically use them as cannon fodder, literally. So they basically go on missions where they're needed across the world. From the looks of it, there's going to be a guest character with the team each issue. It's fun. It's a fun comic. So I'm going to give it a few issues, see how it goes. I'm doing that with X-Men and Uncanny X-Men on this. I was going to stop because they've got... I don't know if you heard about the QR code controversy, where you've got to scan that to get a hidden page. There's been a huge hullabaloo. A lot of people have said it's shit and rubbish. Me, one of them. So now they've backtracked and said, oh, we're only just testing it out, so now they're not going to do it on other issues apart from the first issue. What is going on with Marvel? DC's bringing out so many exciting things in October and November and December. Marvel are just being stupid buggers. The only thing they've got to say, hey, look, we're doing something fantastic, is they're doing a Venom symbiote horse. Okay. do you, Marvel. But I'm going to give it a try. I want to give Marvel a bit of love. I've stopped everything of Marvel apart from Uncanny X-Men and X-Men. I'm going to give this a few issues, and I might try X Factor as well, because who's coming on that? I can't remember. Mark Russell. So I'll give that a go and see how it goes. And at least with this one, this is just going to be $3.99 comic after the big $4.99 issue, unlike the two headline ones. Marvel tax, crazy, ridiculous. And this is a comic. Well, I was going to wait and get in trade, but I saw them all out, so I thought I'll pick it up. I'm kind of glad I did. Kind of glad. Wish I hadn't. This is Blood Hunt, of course, Marvel's big event. This shows the big difference between Marvel's way of doing events and how DC do events now. DC been laying the groundwork. DC been laying the groundwork for their Absolute Power event for years now, for about 2 years. Started with the dawn of DC, and then they had miniseries leading up to it as well. This just Marvel's just kind of gone blop. The artwork is beautiful. I'm glad I bought it for the artwork. The artwork is just absolutely jaw-droppingly gorgeous. It's the best artwork Marvel's had in a comic in a long, long time. It's just really, really nice artwork, and that's by Pepe Larraz. So yeah, kudos to Marvel for that. But the dialogue is terrible. Jed MacKay was good, I think, when he did about 2 issues, when he was doing 2 comics, but now he's doing so many comics. I think it's almost like it's just AI generating his writing. It drops you straight into it at the beginning, and the dialogue's clunky when they do it. And he tries to put witty comments coming from different people. You wouldn't do that it's like this big world cataclysmic event. But for a big cataclysmic event, with Absolute Power, they've only had 1 issue out so far, but they take steps back to take a beat to get the characterization of each character explored more, the reasons why this is happening, etc. It fills you in on the backstory of the plot. This doesn't. This is like a big bombastic movie, which I guess is the Mighty Marvel Manor now, and they have pithy speeches from different characters, and the villains have to introduce themselves, of course, and say, I'm this, I'm that, it's dated, it's cliched, and I wanted to love it more than I did. I read all 5 issues in about an hour, if not shorter, and I went away from it thinking, is that it? And what really pissed me off, the last issue forces you to get another miniseries which is coming out in November, so it doesn't even have an end to it. I felt cheated. Like I said, just 1 issue of Absolute Power ran circles around this. Beautiful artwork. Artwork I would give 10 out of 10. It is gorgeous artwork. Story 5.5, 6 out of 10. They could have done much more with the story. They could have fleshed the plot out more. It was 5 issues of fighting, and that was it. I like a good fight. I like a good action comic, but not if that's all the comic is. There needs to be more flesh. There needs to be more meat on the bones, and there wasn't. It's a pretty expensive B movie of a comic. So if I round it off, artwork I said I'd give 10 out of 10. Writing 5.56. So 6.57 out of 10. I read it. I knew I was going to eventually. One from Rebellion 2000 AD Studios is Misty, 2024 special. This character was from the 70s and 60s. It was a Fleetway who owned 2008 at the time as well. But it was a girls' comic, but it was a very supernatural comic. So you used to get... I used to read my sisters. Because there wasn't any good spooky comics back then for lads. But what's good about this one? Gorgeous artwork, by the way, by Tula Lotay. The art in this comic is just wonderful. So Tula Leite is the cover artist. The standout art in the stories inside is Ali Fell. Beautiful artwork. It read very much like an old Amicus 1970s anthology horror film. And the writer on 3 of the stories is Gail Simone. And then Letty Wilson does a story written and illustrated by herself, which was a really fun story as well. It was good. It was, like I said, it was very much, like I said, like a 1970s Amicus or Trigon horror anthology film, which were all the rage in the late 60s, early 70s. So Misty is like, in the first story she's the main character, in the other story she's more like the background character who lets the story unfold. And it's great. It's good. I mean, Gail Simone's a good writer. Each one's got a twist in the tale. Sometimes you see it coming, sometimes you don't. It's good fun. It's got, like I said, it's camp. It's spooky. It's ooky. It's altogether groovy. Wonderful cover as well. I hope they get Gail Simone back to do another Misty special, maybe a mini series. The only gripe I've got, and I love Gail Simone, is that you can tell she's an American trying to write British characters. Don't try and give them accents. Don't try and do how you think English people speak, the way English people speak. We don't. Maybe in England, in London, or some parts they might do, or in films, but not in real life. Just don't. But that's another gripe. But yeah, it's good fun. It's $6.99, but it's 48 pages. It's oversized, really high quality paper, beautiful artwork. So the artists are Carola Borelli does the first story, Ali Fell does that one that I showed, Mariana Ignazi does another story, and Leslie Wilson does one where she writes it as well. This was a really nice art as well. So yeah, I'd give this a 7.5 out of 10. Really fun book. And then we move on to Distillery, who've got a new comic or prestige format European style album by Joe Henderson and Lee Garbett, who's done quite a number of series together. And this is The Big Burn. And I love Lee Garbett's artwork. It's clean, no line is wasted. So basically, this is like a supernatural heist thriller. I love how they draw the devil as well. Very much tip of the hat to Angel Heart and Robert De Niro's portrayal of Louis Cypher. So basically, these two people sell the souls to the devil to get themselves out of prison, and it's great. But then they realise they can't live without soul, and so he visits this character here, and he says, "Hey, it's a bit boring in hell. If you can break into my safe, which is that picture that I showed you, which contains everybody's souls, you get your soul back." So he basically, this issue is basically like Ocean's 11. He gathers up a team who've also sold the souls to the devil to try and hatch this so they can break into hell, break into the big secure bank which has hold the souls. So they've got to kill themselves to get into hell to do this, and that's where we find out what's going to happen next issue. I loved it. It was a fun read. I've not read a Distillery book that I've not enjoyed, and again, this is going to be a 9 out of 10. So that's it. I might do a graphic novel haul video this weekend. I'll just see how I feel, and I'll be doing a look sometime this week at the month's worth of 2000 ADs and Just Dread. Okay, so glad to be back. Hope you all had a really nice week, and see you soon. Bye. Bye bye.